guys, Wendy here, and today I'm going to be talking about what do tics feel like. I mainly want to make this video for those of you who just want to understand what tics are, kind of what we feel, and then for those of you people that are just like, why don't you just stop, like I explained in my other video. Basically what I feel every time I have a tic, it's like sometimes different sensations. So let's take for example my eyebrow ones. So whenever I am just like sitting here, let's say, I'll get like a sensation, like let's say like a weird, like a pressure, not like pressure. Okay, now this is gonna be a difficult video to do. I thought it was gonna be a lot easier. It's like an urge, basically an urge. Like, you know, that build up right before you sneeze, you're like, and then like you sneeze. So it's that urge, and you know, like when you don't do that sneeze, you're like bothered. You're like, God, I just lost that sneeze. Well, a tic is kind of similar, just that you're not like, man, you don't get over the feeling of sneezing. Imagine that sneeze being there all the time, and then you finally have to take that deep breath to sneeze. It never leaves. I always try to like, whenever anybody asks me like, oh, what does it feel like that's probably my best way to describe it. A lot of people describe it as an itch. Let's say you have an itch there, and it's itching, and imagine you not scratching it until you finally give in and scratch it. The sensation is nothing like an itchy arm, but the urge is the same. So imagine my eyebrow. I have that urge, I have that itch to scratch it. If I don't do the tic, it's like if I'm not scratching my arm. It's not it. I have an itch and I'm not scratching it. Again, the sensation is not the same, but that urge is the same. So I have the urge to lift up my eyebrow until I finally give in, then I'm satisfied, but then 2 seconds later it's itching again. So that's probably the best way to compare it. But again, like that's probably actually pretty good. Probably back for Wendy. That's actually a pretty good way of describing it, I think, to me. Sometimes people compare tics, like regular tics, to Tourette's tics, but it's not the same thing. So let me explain. So let's say that your eye twitches. That's like a muscle tick, twitch. I guess, I don't know, people call them tics. So that's your muscle ticking, and that's why you get it. It's twitching, and that's why you get it. You get that tic. But that's not the case when it comes to Tourette's tics. Meaning, again, in my experience, I'm like about 98% in control of my tics. A lot of people think like, oh, you're doing it. Like, let's say any like my shoulder ones or anything like that. Oh, my muscles contracting and forcing my arm down. Like, nothing is forcing my arm down. Nothing is forcing my nose, my eyebrows, anything like that. Nothing is forcing me to do these tics aside from that urge that I get. So it's an urge that you get. So back to my sneezing analogy, it's like you're about to sneeze, and you know sometimes you can stop the sneeze. That's basically how it is. So you have the sneeze right there. You can stop it if you want, but imagine that pressure always building up, and never going away. Like, I know the sneeze can sometimes go away and you're done with it. No, imagine that pressure always being there up until you do it. So it's not something that I could just forget about. I'm like, oh, okay, good, I'm over it. Like, oh, I almost sneezed, I'm over it. No, it stays there like all the time. Like, let's say right now my arm one is like really bothering me. It's been bothering me a lot, and sometimes they're triggered. So what happens is, like, let's say for my arm ones, it's triggered by corners. It's kind of difficult to like explain, but like, let's say when I'm in the car, it's weird because anytime I turn the volume knob, it's just the volume knob, or I guess if there was any other knobs, if I turn it, I have to touch a corner, and I start like automatically this starts bothering me. So it's automatically like turn the knob, and then my shoulders start doing this up until I touch a corner. And then in the car, it's kind of difficult to find a corner, but I found out that like the headrest is probably the best part to do it. And as long as I stretch out my arm in a certain way and touch that corner, it's fine. So like right now, just thinking about it, it's kind of triggering my shoulder one. So I reach back here, and it kind of satisfies like the stretching bit of this, and then until I touch like the corners of my palms or like this, and then it's done, and then I can relax. But that's up until it gets triggered again, or until like I start thinking about it. But this is my interpretation of what tics feel like for me. For most of you who do have tics of your own, let me know if you can kind of compare to to my like experiences, let's say. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure I was all over the place with this video, but I hope I brought a little more understanding to how tics are, what tics feel like. If I did miss anything, I could do a follow-up video on here. You know, I'm not limited to any videos here. So please comment below if you have any questions about anything I talked about. I'm sure I was all over the place with this, so I'm gonna try to edit as best as I can. In my last video, I asked you guys to ask me some questions for a Q&A that I'm trying to do. A couple of you guys did, but I was hoping for a little bit more, so I'm gonna postpone that video up until I get enough questions to answer in that Q&A. So if you guys could go ahead and comment below this one as well for any questions that you guys have for me, for my boyfriend, what it's like to have Tourette's and stuff. You can go ahead. There's no limits to what. Well, no, there's limits. There's limits that you can ask. So yeah, just try to be respectful and everything. But I'm not offended easily, so that's fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Please comment below, and until next time, bye guys.